Hare
Hare Krishna.
Who is Prabhu? I've made Murli sir, Prabhu my co-host. Meenakshi is your co-host. Anyone else is there? Nandita Mataji, anyone is there?
Not there.
Nandita is there, I think. I saw her just now. She wants to become.
Yes, she is there.
Yeah.
Please.
I'll make her host. Yeah.
Yes.
So Hare Krishna, all my admins, Murli Prabhu, Pradosh Prabhu, Meenakshi Mataji, and Nandita Mataji, and all my devotee Matajis and Prabhus. Warm welcome. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Very
Hare
warm.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Very Krishna conscious welcome to L2 Bhagavad Gita studies, wherein we are into the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Gita summarized. So, seeking the blessings of Shri Radha Govinda, ISKCON Mangaluru, then the paying obeisances to our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, then seeking the blessings of my Shiksha Guru, Namanishta Das Prabhuji. I want to start today's session with my prayer, as usual. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitan Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. As we have set up a convention for ourselves, I'll say a very small kirtan today because the chapter is quite big. I need time, so a very small one. Paying obeisances to Lord Krishna. Krishna 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 He. Krishna 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 He. Krishna 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 Rakshama. Krishna 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 Pahima. Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rama Raghava रक्ष माम् कृष्ण केशव कृष्ण केशव कृष्ण केशव पाहि माम् कृष्ण 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 हे कृष्ण 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 हे हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हे हरे रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 रामा राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna devotees. So we start our session today from shloka 39. We stopped at 38 yesterday. So I hope I'm audible to all of you. Say, you can say Hare Krishna once and then you can start
Hare
our
Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna Mataji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, all of you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Whenever I ask a question, I'll be very happy if you can raise your hands to answer me. Okay. And in case you want to chant any shlokas also, you can raise a hand and put it in the chat box. My admins will convey it to me. You can also chant if you want to chant a few shlokas. Okay. So 38th we have completed yesterday. We'll go to the 39th one today. एषा ते अभिता सांख्ये बुद्धिर्योगे त्वयिमां शृणु बुद्ध्या युक्तो यया पार्थ कर्मबन्धं प्रहस्यसि. Now Krishna tells him, so far I have told you, I have given an analytical study of the Sankhya, that is what is the body, what is the soul, the detailed knowledge about both of those, the spirit, matter of spirit. Okay. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive results. So when you are doing something without expectation of the results thereof, there is no sin, there is no harm. On the contrary, it's all auspicious. So now the occasion is Kurukshetra war, and the expectation is that Arjuna should fight against the Kauravas. And if he does it in Buddhi Yoga, that is offering all the results of the war or whatever is performing his actions to Krishna, absolutely no sin. Whether in front of him he has teachers, it is his grandfather or his son-like people or relatives, no sin at all, it tells him. So, O son of Pratha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of all your works. Works means activities. Now, the descriptive knowledge of the soul and the body's Sankhya. All these tips are going to be helpful to you in your, I've already told you yesterday for what studies. So what is Sankhya? Sankhya is the descriptive knowledge of the soul and the body. Now Sankhya as per the Nirukti. What is Nirukti? Nirukti is the name of the Vedic dictionary. Okay. So in the Vedic dictionary, the definition of Sankhya is given as the descriptive knowledge of the soul and the body. Now Krishna tells Arjuna that by killing the body of his grandfather, his soul would never be, actually, there'll be no, it will not be killed at all, because soul has no death. And we in the last session we saw, yesterday we saw that we are not the body, we are the soul. So soul has no, it cannot be cut, it can't be burnt, it can't be moistened. So it's absolutely, it's protected. So whatever happens is for the body. If you're cutting something, you are cutting the body, not the soul. Soul is eternal. And also that the souls of all individuals, including the Lord himself, are eternal. So all of these are, they have no birth, they have no death. They existed in the past, existing in the present, and will continue to exist in the future. They will always be there. That is eternal, the meaning of eternal. Lord Krishna made an analytical description of the soul just to bring Arjuna to the point of Buddhi Yoga. Now we are going to the last part, that is Buddhi Yoga or the Bhakti Yoga. He's introduced all that was said in the first part of the second chapter is actually, a prelude or actually a introduction or a foundation for Bhakti Yoga. The Bhakti Yoga is not dealt much here actually, but it is definitely dealt. That's why Bhakti Vinoda Thakura he was the one who divided this second chapter into the 3 parts and said that Gita is the summarized version. I mean, second chapter is the summarized version of the entire Gita. Lord Krishna said, therefore, that only the less intelligent class of men make a distinction between Sankhya Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. They are the same. What is Sankhya? Descriptive knowledge of the analytical knowledge of the body and the soul. Bhakti Yoga is actually extending that. Sankhya Yoga, Pratak Balaha, Parvadanti, the Panditaha. So it is actually talking about the soul and the body only. One should therefore understand that Buddhi Yoga means to work in Krishna consciousness, however difficult such work may be, and experience transcendental bliss. So however difficult the task is given to you, you owe all the fruits of the results of the fruits of all your actions to offer them to Krishna, and then you do it. It will become very light. The most difficult things will become very easy. It will be, they say, almost as if you are going to lift something with the little finger. It becomes so very easy. Neha Bikramo nasosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Krishna tells Arjuna actually. Yeah, this is the now activity in Krishna consciousness. Whatever you do in Krishna consciousness is the highest work of transcendental nature. It is not material at all. It's absolutely spiritual. So don't worry at all. Even a small beginning of such an activity is not lost at any stage. I told you in one of my sessions till now that all other education that you acquire now, they end with this lifetime. That can't continue for the next lifetime. Even if you are a Dalit in this lifetime, you have to go back to again the Montessori, the lower KG, other lower standards, and then raise again to whatever level you are destined to. Okay? But then in spirituality, if you have attained a certain percentage of devotion or knowledge, spiritual knowledge in this particular lifetime, if you have performed certain percentage of devotional service in this lifetime, in the next lifetime, you are going to pick up from there. If it is 1% in this lifetime, from 2% in the next lifetime. Okay. If it is 20, 21 from the next lifetime. So there's no loss at any stage. Even a small beginning of such activity is not lost at any stage. Any incomplete material activity is a failure. See, in supposing I'm doing something, let's say I'm knitting a beautiful sweater, say, a very nice one, and God's will, and I'm not able to complete it at all. It remains like that. It's gone. It's completely, it's just incomplete. But that's not the case in spiritual work. If I'm doing some devotional work, for instance, now what are we doing? We are there is Shravanam and actually I would say, I can't say Kirtanam. I'm whatever bit of knowledge I have got, I'm sharing, and you are listening. This is devotional service. Now this is never lost. Now whatever we do in this lifetime, we are going to pick up from the next lifetime. So nothing is spirituality is vanquished totally. If 1%, it goes to second person, the next time. Example is Ajamila. Now Ajamila was a great devotee. You know what happens to here? He is in his life. At a later part of in his life, but an impressive age of his life, he sees a scene in the forest when he had been to bring firewood. He sees a very unpleasant in the sense, a sensual scene, and he falls. And he falls to such a lower condition that later he has to marry her. He has his own family, his children, but then he marries the other lady also. Then he has a family out of her. And then at a very old age of say about 80 or so, he has small children. And then if the death time warrants, it comes. And then now, when he's dead, and then the Yamadutas and the Devadutas both come. Obviously, both of them come. Actually, both don't come. One of those come. But then when he's dead, the Yamadutas come because he had committed such abominable action in his past life, he said, we are going to take him to our Yamaloka. Immediately there, because some for sacred thing he had done, auspicious thing he had done at the end of his life. What happens is just before he dies, he has a dream. In the dream, he feels all these dutas are coming and they're pulling him. And that's a very bad omen, inauspicious omen. And in that, when he sees, gets the dream, he screams out the name of his last son, which was Narayana. He was very fond of Narayana, that little son, not Lord Narayana, the little son. And by dint of calling that word Narayana, the Devadutas take it for granted that he has called Vishnu only. They know they have called his son's name, but yet, incidentally or fortunately, his son's name and Narayana's name, they were same. Lord's name were the same. So they came. So they both have they have an argument. The Yamaduta say, we are going to take him, and Devaduta says, no, he said Narayana, we are going to take him to our Loka. He has to be liberated. Then in the fight, of course, one more thing, whenever the Devadutas come, Yamadutas cannot stay there. They just run away. They don't stand there at all. Then what happens is, though he was dead, he is given, there's a very nice book by Srila Prabhupada called The Second Chance, where he is given a second chance to live. He is given ordained life back, and he is given a chance to live a virtuous life. And that's a chance given by Lord when we actually go the wrong way. So best example is Ajamila. So but little bit of devotional service he had done, with which was able to get his life back and tread on the path of devotionality. So material activities and their results end with the body. Of course, this doesn't. Krishna conscious person is sure to be born again as a human being. If nothing more, you may not go to Vaikuntha planets, you may not go to Goloka Vrindavana. But one thing certain, if you are in Krishna consciousness, you are certain to be born as a human being. Okay, and that too in a very elite family. See, not necessarily rich financially. Richness it's very temporary. They should be spiritually rich, and the ambience in the house should be such that the child would be able to further its spiritual, advancement. So you are granted a life in such a elite family. That's one very important thing in spirituality. So you should realize that, and then you have to be on the path of Krishna consciousness. Okay. Now, Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kuru nandana bahushakha penantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam. So here, Vyavasayatmika is actually the person in Krishna consciousness. Vyavasayina means actually the one is not in Krishna consciousness. So here he says, those who are on this path of that's Krishna consciousness are resolute in purpose. They are like our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada is here, is resolute, is fixed. He doesn't have duality in mind. And their aim is one. Their aim is to actually achieve Krishna, attain Krishna, and spread the message of Krishna consciousness and awaken others too. He's not selfish. He's not keeping the knowledge for himself. He wants to share the knowledge and actually emancipate or liberate all the fallen souls. The intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched. So they are actually veiled. They don't know where to go. They don't know focus in life. Persons with a strong faith in Krishna consciousness, what are their features? Will be elevated to the highest perfection of life called Vyavasayatmika intelligence. Okay, whether he does not have to bother about the results. When he's doing whatever in Krishna consciousness, we don't have to bother about the fruits, whether they're good or bad. I always give the example, your duty is to offer flower to the Almighty. Now, our elders believe that if the flower falls on the right side, it's a good omen. On the left side, it is a bad omen. And not falling at all is neutral and all that, They shouldn't bother. All those are all just superstition. Kindly mute, my devotees. Kindly speak in mute. Don't be careful of your microphone. So what is the best thing is you offer dutifully the flower and don't bother right or left. And then you just know anything is okay for you. And don't people look out for the auspicious time to set out, auspicious time to do things and all that. It's not bad. I don't mean to say you shouldn't be doing it, but don't be too much focused on that. For Krishna conscious, all these things don't matter. Which direction you sit and chant, which direction you sit and do the puja. They are of course important. I don't mean to say, because scientifically also the radiations come from certain directions. I don't deny that, but still, we should don't go too much by that. Okay, have a resolute purpose based on knowledge. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. A person in Krishna consciousness is a rare good soul who knows perfectly that Vasudeva or Krishna is the root of all manifested causes. But everything, the cause of all causes is Lord Krishna. As by watering, the plant has got a trunk, it has got the roots, it's got a trunk, it has got the branches, leaves, fruits, everything. Okay. Now every part of the plant body is living because it is getting all the nutrients from the soil. And the part of the plant body which is under the soil, which is getting the plant its nutrients, are the roots. So when you have to plant on a summer day or any day for that matter, when you want to actually nourish the plant, what do? We fertilizers or water, everything we pour to the soil. And from the soil, the roots absorb. We don't give fertilizer and water straight away to the fruit because it is growing, or to the leaves because they are growing, or branches because they are branching out. Because they no use. They don't have the capacity to use this, whatever we give them. So whatever we give has to go to the soil only. The same way, our whole body has to be active. And you're so tired, you're so hungry. If you eat something, you're not going to feed your hands and legs and your eyes and your ears, all that. They become active, of course, when you eat food. But the food goes to the stomach, and from the stomach, it is digested, assimilated, and taken to all over the parts of the body. The same way, watering the root is very important. Okay, so this is what is actually meant by taking care of the roots. So one is firmly fixed in the mind, doesn't have so many diverse, splitted, detracted, minds. He'll be fixed in. He is actually a resolute person. Okay? So now we go. This is Yami Mam Pushpitam Vacham Pravadantya Avipashitaha Veda Vadarata Partha Nanyad Asiti Vadinaha Kamatmana Swarigapara Janma Karma Phala Pradam Kriya Vishesha Bahula Bhogaishwarya Gatim Prati. When a small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas. See, little knowledge people, they're called the misers, as the Karpanyas, the Kripanas with the Karpanya dosha. They're actually misers. They have inadequate knowledge. They don't have enough wisdom, no intelligence at all for them. Okay, they are doing things which they should not be doing. So people with small knowledge are such people. Okay, so they are attached to the flowery words of the Vedas. In Vedas, there are so many things given. See, Vedas also give us, the rituals to be performed for material sense gratification for our own benefit. Those are also there. At the end of the Vedas, Upanishads are again part of the Vedas. There actually knowledge of the soul and Almighty is given. But they are attracted by the first part wherein they have the information that by praying to certain gods, certain benedictions are obtained. So they stick to it, which recommends various fruitive activities. Do this sacrifice, you will get this. You do that, you will get that. Okay. For elevation to heavenly planets, that is, material benefits are also there. And even to go to heavenly planets, they've got certain, there are actually strictures. Okay. Resultant good birth, power, and so forth. All things which are, I say heavenly planets also, which a true devotee also does not wish for liberation. By information, a real devotee does not wish for liberation too. He doesn't want Vaikuntha planets. He doesn't want to go to Goloka Vrindavana. He wants to be, doesn't matter if he is born again and again, but he wants eternally the service of Almighty. That's what he prays for. But those who wish for heavenly planets, they want to go there, enjoy the luxurious life there. At best, they may go to, say, Brahmaloka, Satyaloka, Janaloka. Again, after enjoying the life there, they have to come back to earth to again, they get reborn and then again start their lifetime again. So there are certain strictures in Vedas which help people to attain that. But being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this. They are just contented with that. That's actually they would say the narrow-mindedness or the lack of broad-mindedness in the non-intelligent people. Okay? So men of small knowledge, they do such. They behave in that particular way. So most non-intelligent persons, most intelligent persons, due to their ignorance, they may be knowing, but they may sometimes it will be masked with ignorance, are attached to fruitive activities recommended in the Karma Kanda portions of the Vedas. Okay, so they are actually not intelligent people. They are the misers. Their focus is on gratifying their senses and are carried away by proposals for enjoying luxurious life on the heavenly planets, elaborated in the Vedas. Example, the Jyotistoma sacrifices. In the Jyotistoma sacrifices, there are 4 sacrifices for performed. If that is done, you attain heavenly planets. It is given there. So they do everything for that. They have to spend a lot. They have to not only financially, they also have to put in effort. They don't mind doing it because they're going to get the heavenly planets. In the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas, it is said that those who perform a 4-month penance, is a 4-month penance, okay, be eligible to drink the Somarasa. They get God gives them the Somarasa. Beverages to become immortal and be happy forever. They all want is happiness. See, all of us want happiness. See, non-devotees also want happiness. Atheists also want happiness. Devotees also want happiness. No, but what sort of happiness? Now, what is, see, ultimately everyone, the soul is eternally happy. It wants to be happy. But how we are going to be happy is very important. For a devotee, for a Krishna conscious person, he's also very happy. He's happy in being selfless, in doing everything in the service of the Lord, in Krishna consciousness, and offering all the results to actually Krishna. There's a particular doctor I heard of just recently. In fact, yesterday I heard about a doctor in Kerala. I really appreciated. She's a Krishna conscious devotee, a very good, famous Ayurvedic doctor. She doesn't take any consultation many times, from people. When it's asked for consultation, she says, anywhere there was a Krishna temple, you just drop in whatever you want. So this is actually what is called rendering the fruits of our activities. So we don't take it for us, we give it to Krishna. That's actually very important. So now such persons, they perform it and they drink the Somarasa and then actually become immortal and happy. So, but the Krishna conscious people become happy by doing service to Lord. Such persons have no faith in liberation. The non-intelligent people have no faith in liberation from material bondage. And they do not want anything other than heavenly planets of life. They want that. It is understood there are gardens called Nandana Kanana. There are beautiful gardens. There's a good opportunity for, having, for the, both the, to have sensual pleasure there. So people, they want to go there, okay? Such people are those who are purely attached to such material temporary habits, all temporary. Any happiness on the material platform is very, very short-lived. It's actually very ephemeral. It's going to vanish. But they don't know. They want to be the lords of the entire universe. Okay. We come to the, we did this, Bhogaishwarya prasaktanam tayaparat chetasam vyasayatmika buddhihi samadhau na vidhiyate. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. See, there cannot be angel and the ghost can't stay in the same place. Actually, angels dread to go where the ghosts wander about. So they can be either a ghost or an angel. So when such very trivial thoughts are there in their mind of sensual enjoyment or material enjoyment, there cannot be any place for worship for the Lord. They don't think of elevated spiritual enjoyment at all. Samadhi is never possible. Samadhi is being fixed in mind, never possible for persons interested in material sense enjoyment and bewildered by such any temporary thing. They're very happy. It's not going to give up. But these the devotees are after permanent happiness. They want actually Shashvata Sukham. They don't want a Shashvata Sukham. So we see here that those who are actually these people, they're just absolutely material happiness. They want they worship the demigods. They grant them all what they want. They grow the grains. They have their their herd of animals, the milking animals. They just enjoy their life. They're not bothered about any supreme enjoyment. But they do not know that above all this is Krishna. See, whatever the demigods are going to grant us, they cannot grant on their own. They have no liberty or they don't have any sanction. They have to get all the sanctions from Lord Krishna. That is not known to the common man. So actually struggles by going a round way about to get his what his desires fulfilled. Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nisraigunya Bhavarjuna Nirdvandvo Nitya Satvastho Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature. We know what are three modes of material nature. We'll be knowing more about it in the later chapters. We'll be coming to that. Now here, yesterday I just mentioned to you that we are all born out of the internal superior potency of the Lord. And we are definitely we are very spiritual, absolutely spiritual, like Almighty almost. Only thing is, he is Paramatma, we are Atma. We are a fragment of the Paramatma. And this actually is, he is Vibhu, we are Anu. We are absolutely very small, and we are confined to our bodies. My body, my soul. Okay. Actually, I am the soul. This is my body. Okay. That's how we have to define ourselves. But then Paramatma is present in all the bodies, all over the world. Even in an atom, living, non-living, apart, is there in everyone. And you can just compare it to, I keep on giving this example very frequently. There are two examples given. One is the example of the pearls strung in a thread. That's also an example. The pearls, each pearl is a soul, and the string that runs through all the pearls is Almighty. That's Paramatma. Okay. Then I think more adept, example would be, think of a garland made up of different flowers. See, because the pearls are all alike. Unless you color the pearls different, you can have blue, green, yellow, red, pink colors. Then it makes sense. But if all our pearls are the same color, then our souls are not alike. Our souls are different. So I have got my soul it's my soul. You have your soul. So it is not absolutely same. But the other example would be the garland with, chrysanthemums and then roses, and then you have so many, any flower, you just name it, jasmines and so on. Okay. Now there are so many flowers, daffodils and so on. Okay. You make a string out of that for the, they make naming for the Lord. Okay. Now each flower is different. Shevantiki or the chrysanthemum is not the same as rose, and rose is not the same as jasmine. So each one of us is a flower. Our souls are different, but the thread running through all these in the garland is the same. That is Paramatma. That is why yesterday when I gave an example where, a person was played with a, what's it called, what they used to insert to hear actually hands-free for listening to music. And they were feeling sorry that the person was not conscious, that the patient was not conscious and was not able to hear. But then what they're pacified, don't worry, the soul has heard it, don't worry at all. But what I would say, that is, physical contact. But what I would tell you is, even beyond physical contact, if you're not in physical contact, even a distance, we call distance healing. Distance healing, we don't come into contact at all. Now there, you pass vibrations to the person who is sick. And they are healed. They are healed. How? How is it possible? Because Paramatma, who is there in me, is also there in the person who is not well. So I communicate through my Paramatma to the Paramatma in his soul, and through that, through the same Paramatma only. They don't differ. The Paramatma in his soul, and he conveys with the soul of the individual person. So he gets the benefit. So this is how it is. It is wireless. Everything happens actually. Let's say online, we have classes now here. Even prayers can happen wireless. So there's no need of any communication there. So Vedas, they deal with all the three modes of material nature, the goodness, passion, and ignorance. Arjuna, become transcendental. So it's not good to be in the mode of goodness. Don't think that when I say mode of goodness, Satoguna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna, Satoguna is very good. They're all very auspicious, very good qualities. Everything is fine. Nothing negative in them. Even then, they have some pride in them that they're good. That pride also is a hindrance to our spiritual advancement. So even that we should not have. So we have to transcend all the three modes of material nature. And God, Almighty Krishna, is beyond all that. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. So we should be beyond all the actually three gunas also. That's what Krishna tells him. Now, all material activities involving actions and reactions, the three modes of material nature, are accompanied by fruitive results. In Satoguna, Tamoguna, and Rajoguna, you expect some fruits. In Rajoguna, you actually work for your family. You work somewhere. You expect a salary with which you can raise your family. And in all the gunas, we expect fruitive results. Now that fruitive result, when you expect something, it causes bondage. Now I work for a firm. The firm pays me some money. I'm bonded to the firm. I have to work loyally to the firm. Okay, I'm not free. Now, supposing I'm having my class at home, I'm teaching everyone free. I don't charge anything. But supposing today I don't want to take the class, it's not convenient for me. I can just say I'm not taking the class today. You can come tomorrow. I'll not check, not for no reason, for whatever the reason. There'll be some reason. But I'm not bonded. I'm free. So this is the difference. The Vedas gradually elevate the general public in the field of sense gratification. What the Vedas do? They are trying to elevate the people in sense gratification to actually a transcendental plane. So Vedas give all knowledge. Vedas give knowledge of sacrificial rituals which help us to get whatever we want. I mean, our desired things for material benefit and for heavenly planets. They also give the knowledge to elevate to a transcendental platform to get liberty. Choice is yours. You have to choose what you want to see. In the library, there are so many books. You can choose whichever book you want, depending on your attitude and your mentality, your desire. So it's up to you. Arjuna, as a student and friend of Lord Krishna, is advised to raise himself to the transcendental position. He says, transcend all the material modes of nature. Don't remain in them. Arjuna, you have to rise beyond that. Okay. And then he becomes, first of all, there is Brahma Jidnyasa, or questions on the supreme transcendence. He has to go on questioning and then reach the higher level. All the living entities who are in material world are struggling very hard for existence. We see it all around us. Who is happy? Tell me today. All are struggling. Everyone is struggling. Okay. They enjoy it because, it's something like, the camel eats the thorns and it enjoys it, But actually, when the thorn eats the thorns, it is bleeding in the mouth. It is drinking its own blood. It thinks it is coming from the thorn, goes on eating it. It enjoys. That's how we are in the material platform. We are all enjoying, but we are really not enjoying. It's really we're suffering, where we are getting hurt actually. But we don't realize because Maya, it's all Maya. So all their Vedic wisdom advises how to come out of the material entanglement. We are all entangled. There will be coming to a separate chapter there, when all of us, we are actually bounded by the bondage of the strings of the three modes of material nature are actually binding us. Satoguna, Tamoguna, Rajoguna. So one may be more, one may be less. That doesn't matter, but they're all binding us. So when you're bound like this, who can free us? Tell me. A person who is not bound, a non-bonded person. Now, when all of us are bound, the person who is eligible to help, is able to help us is Lord Krishna, who is absolutely above all the modes of material nature. When the activity of sense gratification, namely Karma Kanda chapter, are finished, you just close it. Then the chance for spiritual realization is offered in the form of Upanishads. The same Vedas. It is actually even ours. It's called Gita Upanishad. Even there we have all this information. So which is a part of the Vedas. So as Bhagavad Gita is again, we have all the information here too. So it's up to us to use whatever information we want. Yavan artha udapane sarvata samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanatah. All purposes. A small well, what a well can do can be done by a big reservoir. So here the meaning is, a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir. A well also gives us water, reservoir also gives us water. It gives us actually in ample. Okay, so water. Similarly, all the Vedas, purposes of Vedas, they're like small wells, can be served to one who knows the supreme purpose behind it. What would the supreme purpose behind it? What is it in our what do we in this Kali Yuga, which is that which can do all the can be all the benedictions that we get out of the rituals performed in the Vedas can be obtained by simply chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Keep on chanting, keep on chanting. So no expense in this, no difficulty. Only thing is you should have faith in it. One thing. And secondly, you should be actually not saying once or twice, you should keep on saying it. You have a continuous, chanting for a long time. Endurance to do that. Okay. Absolutely, it is costless, but devotion is very important. You can't say without devotion. So the best purpose of Vedanta philosophy is served by inoffensively chanting the holy name of the Lord. Okay, that's what it says. Now, karmannevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturpur ma te sangostu karmani. So you have the right, he says. This is a very, very popular shloka. Do your duty. Don't be attached to the results thereof. You have the right to, you have the only right to perform your duty. You have to study well for the examination, go and perform there and come back. Don't worry what is going to happen there. In fact, even perform well also we cannot say. You study very well, okay, very sincerely study. But what is the guarantee that you'll be okay that day? Something may happen, is it not? But you have all done, put in all efforts to study. You had a very excellent timetable. You are very judicious way. You are very actually time conscious and very absolutely studious. You have done your job. At the nth moment, anything can happen. Okay. Now, by God's grace, if everything goes fine, that's why we say everything depends upon the Lord's sanction. You cannot say, oh, I have read well, I have done well, I have planned well, I'm going to do well, I'm going to. You are going to, yes, but who is making you do it? It's only the Lord. If nothing goes well, proper at the final end, the nth moment, you may not be able to even go to the examination. It has happened many times. Okay. So then don't have too many, but you have studied well. Be happy with that. And then you have to proceed. If you attach your the all importance to performance of the examination and results thereof, it will be very sad. See, all of us should be happy. Our soul wants to be happy. So do things which keep you happy. So don't think about things which are going to make you unhappy. If doesn't, what does 1 year matter in a person's lifetime? It doesn't matter. I'll take the exam next time. I'll definitely do it well. I mean, God willing, everything okay, all goes well. But don't crib over that. You shouldn't be lamenting over that. So fruits of actions you have to always shun. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities. So whatever you are doing, you don't think you are the doer. You are not the doer. You are actually only instrumental, nimitta matra. Okay. Behind that, the strings are in the hands of our divine, supreme personality of Godhead. The puppet strings are with him. He is going to make us act, and we have to act accordingly according to his dictums, and never be attached to not doing it. But at the same time, so thinking that, oh, maybe I may not be. Who will think like that? Maybe this may not happen. Maybe I may not perform well. Maybe I may not pass at all. Why should I study at all? Then what's the point? See, you cannot say like that. See, you have to study. You have to do everything till the last moment and pray Almighty to keep everything fine and see that you do everything properly. But thinking that things may not work at the properly, fine at the end of the hour, you should not stop working, should not stop studying. That's very wrong. Okay. Here. Arjuna was therefore advised by the Lord to fight. So he says now, coming to fight only. Arjuna, he has to fight only. He says, you have to fight as a matter of duty without attachment to the results. Don't worry what is going to happen. Whether you are going to die, teacher is going to die, or Bhishma Pitamaha is going to die, don't worry about it. Okay. Now it's a duty to fight. They have been very unfair to you. And we did try all our methods to come for to have actually peace talk. They never agreed. So it's not our mistake. So now we have to fight. His non-participation in the battle is another set of attachment. The two attachments. One attachment is towards the people there. Okay. Other is non-party. If he doesn't actually participate, what is he getting attached to? Attached to the, can you tell me? If he's non-part, we say it is other side of attachment. What is the other side of attachment? You can kindly mute. See, both are attachments only. His means Arjuna's. Non-participation in the battle is another side of attachment. Why does it not want to participate? What is that sort of attachment? Raise hands.
Love for his family?
Yes, attachment. See, you should have affection, not attachment. Actually, attachment is very bad. Affection is good. Okay. Attachment is the cause. We'll come to it later how bad it is. It's going to actually make us completely go down the drain, actually into gloom. So attachment is not good. Such attachment never actually takes one to the path of salvation. Any attachment, positive or negative, is cause for bondage. Positive, it could be positive. So what is the other attachment? One is attachment towards the people. Arjuna was therefore advised by the Lord to fight as a matter of duty without attachment to the result. The other is attachment to the result, winning or losing. Don't worry about it. So both attachments are there for Arjuna, one on the left and the one on the right side, just to choose the right one now. Okay. Now, so any attachment, positive or negative, is cause for bondage. Inaction is sinful. Never sit, thinking that any same thing is going to happen. Why bother? I think I would rather not do anything and just sit idly. No. We are not supposed to idle at all. In fact, in Krishna consciousness, you are supposed to be 24/7 busy, back to back. You have to be very, 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 very busy. Therefore, fighting as a matter of duty was the only auspicious path of salvation for Arjuna. Okay? Now we come to Yogastha Kuru Karmani Sangam Tyaktva Dhananjaya Siddhya Siddhyo Samo Bhutva Samatvam Yoga Uchate. Perform your duty equipoised, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called, this is called yoga. See, yoga is actually, he tells him what is yoga. It's very interesting here now. See, Krishna tells Arjuna that he should, what is yoga? You should act in yoga. Now, what is yoga? That is concentrate the mind on the supreme. So think of me, fight. And he also tells him, don't fight because, stop fighting because it is going to please your senses. You're going to be happy, the people are going to be alive on the other side. That don't do that. Now, you fight because I want you to fight. The reasons he gives him, because they're all very fallen souls. They've already been killed by me. So I have to only formally kill them. So he says, you have to kill for my sake. By controlling the senses and perform his action of fighting undeviated. As the Lord is telling Arjuna to fight, Arjuna has nothing to do with the results of the fight. Gain or victory are Krishna's concern. Leave it to Krishna. You may win or you may lose. You just leave it to me. The following of Krishna's dictation in Krishna consciousness, that is real yoga. See, whatever Lord tells us, we have to do it. We are eternal servitors of the Lord. We are the eternal parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord. So we have to just do what he says. The Krishna consciousness, we can only give up. You have to give sense of proprietorship. Don't think you are lording it over. You are the Lord of all. You are doing it. You are not doing it. I am making you do it. Okay. So one has to become the servant of the Lord or the servant of the Lord. It will be so submissive. And that is what Krishna likes. Actually, he likes people. He doesn't mind getting offended himself. But if a devotee gets offended, he gets absolutely upset. So it's actually, he has great regard for not his immediate devotees. The devotees of the devotees of the devotees are more precious for him because he is actually regards them, has them in high esteem. Arjuna is a Kshatriya. And as such, he is participating in the Varnashrama, actually, Dharma institution. He's now in the Varna. He's actually a Kshatriya. What is his job? He has to fight. So he should not shirk on that. He has to please Vishnu and then proceed. That's what he says. Then you come to, yeah. Durena yavaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddhau sharanam anvichha kripana phala hetava. O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service. Okay? Abominable, distasteful things, unworthy things, keep them away. Don't keep them. Kindly mute, kindly don't make noise in the background. And in that consciousness, surrender to the Lord. Okay? Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work they are misers. I've told you about misers last week. Kindly, I think, kindly mute them, admins, please. Don't mind. There's a lot of disturbance. Prabhu, kindly mute them.
You may unmute yourself, Mataji.
The same thing happened. Yesterday to the same thing happened. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one who has understood his constitutional position as the eternal servitor of the Lord. Now, when we know that we are the internal parts and parcels of the divine Lord, the divine soul of the Lord, we'll definitely behave properly. Then we are obviously servants. He's our master. Okay. Then work only in Krishna. Then yeah, obviously we will just surrender to Krishna and work in Buddhi Yoga or Karma Yoga. Misers desire to enjoy the fruit of their work. They are very not intelligent people. They just want to enjoy the fruits of their work. They don't even enjoy. They actually spoil, and then they're inadequate wisdom. Okay, unintelligent, and further get entangled in them. It keeps on again binding them in this cycle of birth and death. All activities not performed in Krishna consciousness are abominable because they continually bind the worker to the cycle of birth and death. Buddhi yukto jahatita ubhe sukrita duskrute tasmad yogaya yuchyasva yoga karma su kaushalam. He says, do yoga kaushalam, in a skillful way. A man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad reactions. When you surrender to Krishna and do anything, you are not at all affected by the good and the bad results. See, a doctor performs the operation with all sincerity. Okay, he's dexterous too, very skillful too. He doesn't want to kill the patient. Definitely, no doctor wants to kill the patient. But see, coming to spirituality, if really it's a very complicated case, let's say, with very hardly few chances of survival, they tell them normally prior to beforehand, or supposing the lifespan of the person is over, then what can the doctor do? You cannot blame the doctor for that, So he does his best to he wants to save the patient. His interest is in saving the patient. But so he shouldn't be bothered about the good and the bad reactions, even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of yoga is the art of Sukaushalam. Actually, it's the art of all arts. This is it. Tells him that. Karmajam buddhi yukta hi phalam tyaktva manishina janma bandha vinirmukta padam gachanti anamayam. Thus, by engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees, they free themselves. Okay, they are actually, that's how they have got freed, the great sages. They get free themselves from the results of work in the material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death. Again, I think there is some background sound. Kindly take care of your microphones. So they are elevated souls. They know how to come out of this whole cycle of birth and death. And so they in Krishna consciousness, they surrender all their works to Lord Krishna, attain the state beyond all miseries by going to Godhead. They go back to Godhead. The liberated living entities are the sages, belong to that place where there are no material miseries. They're absolutely, they have worked for it. They've actually done penance for it. In Bhagavatam, it is very beautifully, it's a very nice shloka. For the sake of the shloka, I pluck this. Samashita ye pada pallava plavam, mahat padam punya yasho murare, bhavam pudir vatsa padam param padam, padam padam yat vipadim natesham. See, something like this. See, when the ocean, it's a huge ocean. Now, when a calf sets the foot when on a moist soil, there's a small cavity made. If that small cavity is filled with ocean, see, there's no misery in it. But in the vast ocean, there are miseries. So it is like the parampadam. It is the foot of a calf filled with the ocean water, just as that is there. For one who has accepted the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord, Now, why do we accept that boat? To take us across this, this ocean of nescience, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation, is called Mukunda, or the giver of Mukti. The ocean of the material world, how is it? Like the water contained in a calf's footprint. So calf's footprint is so small, that not even a cow's footprint. Calf's, very cute, small footprint. If you fill that with water, it becomes actually a mold filled with water. It doesn't have the miseries of ocean. Param Padam, or where there are no material miseries there. What we see sharks in the ocean. We see there are such whales in the ocean. There are so many things. Tides coming in the ocean. But in the calf's foot also contains the same water, ocean water only. If you analyze it for its chemical properties, it is the same. But what we see, we see the upheavals in the ocean, we don't see in the small footprint of the water, the ocean water in the footprint of the calf. That's how it is. Okay. Or Vaikuntha. The Vaikuntha is his goat. That is Vaikuntha, a small island-like thing created by the calf's footprint. Not the place where danger is there every step of the. Actually, in the ocean, there is actually danger every step. Material world is miserable place for dangers at every step. Padam padam, you have got a lot of miseries. No place in the universe is bereft of miseries. Birth, death, You go to any loka, go to even Janloka, Satyaloka, Brahmaloka, even but lifespan is longer there. Lot of luxuries are there, but yet you have to come back to earth. You have to get reborn. Only one who understands his real constitutional position, that we are the eternal. What is our constitutional position? What is it? What is that position? No answer? Raise your hands. What is our in relationship with God? What are we? Constitutional position. I'm repeatedly. Yeah, please, Vaidehi Mataji, please tell me.
Yes, we are the eternal servants of the Lord.
Of the Lord. We are parts and parcels of the inner potency of the Lord. So we are definitely the servants of the Lord. So that actually one who understands this, that we are that, engages himself in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. He's your Lord. So definitely, I work in a school. I've got a principal. So definitely, the principal, I have to please the principal always. I cannot do things my way. So you have to be always grateful to the whoever is above you. Okay. Transcendental loving service of the Lord, and hence becomes qualified to enter the Vaikuntha times. Obviously, promotions you get in a school. They're very good. No flattering the principal, but do whatever he orders or she orders and do things very dutifully. You'll be picked for promotion and for all the elevated, responsibilities. That's how it is. One who wrongly thinks that the living entity's position and the Lord's position are the same. There are some such foolish people. Oh, he said so. Then we are born out of the internal potency of the Lord. Then we are the same. He and Lord are the same. They say like that. They argue like that. They are fools. They're absolutely fools. He is Vibhu, we are Anu. We are so small. We are confined to our own bodies. He is present everywhere. That they don't realize. Okay. Now that they're absolutely wrong. They becoming a Lord. They want to lord it over. Actually, what are they doing? Paving their life, their path to the again birth and death. They are actually going around in the cycle. Yada te moha kalilam buddhir vyatati vatati rashyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. When the intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. So this is the forest of delusion. Like, if you're so confused in this forest, anyone is confused there, then once you're out of it, you will be able to hear things which you should actually hear. When a person factually understands Krishna and his relationship with Krishna, that is the eternal servitor of the Lord, he naturally becomes completely indifferent to all the rituals of fruitive activities. It doesn't. Now, all Krishna conscious people will never hanker for fruitive results of their actions. Everything is nishkama karma. They never do things with any phala apeksha. Even though an experienced Brahmana, Sri Madhavendra Puri, how beautifully he says, actually he says, they do things. See, when you sometimes you're not able to do puja in the morning. Okay, then you just there's do not do puja for a very specific reason, not because you're lazy. Okay, there's some reason you can't do it. You can always think you have done it. It's possible. Because I have faith in God. God will understand me. But in case I don't have faith in God, I'm not Krishna conscious. I'm not actually I'm in a yogi. Then I will worry, oh, I didn't do this today. I didn't offer that. I don't always, your throat unhappy, lamenting for it. But one who is in Krishna consciousness, like the great Brahmana like Madhavendra Puri, what he says, a beautiful shloka again. For the content of the shloka, I picked this. Sandhya Vandana Bhadram Astu Bhavato Bho Snana Tubhyam Namo Bho Devaha Pitarascha Tarpana Vidhau Naham Shamayatam Yatra Kwapi Nishatya Yadava Kulotamasya Kamsha Dvisha Smaram Aham Harami Tad Alam Manyekim Anyame. See, you should be doing oblations. Your way, once Sandhya must happen, everything must happen. But okay, in case you are not able to do, he says, this is, oh my prayers. He prays 3 times a day. Okay, all glory to you. Okay, let it be glorious. Oh, bathing, you have to bathe for doing the Sandhya Vandana. I offer my obeisances unto you. Okay, and oh demigods, oh forefathers, please excuse me for my inability to offer my human respects. He's not able to do all this. That's why he's doing it. What is he doing actually? He's actually fixed in service to Lord. Now, wherever I sit, I can remember the greatest descendant of the Yadu dynasty. He is thinking of Krishna always. If you think of Krishna always, how can you do it always? You see, of course, you can say Krishna, Krishna, you can say that. But then you got the Mahamantra for this particular Kali Yuga. It has been prescribed. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra is very auspicious. If you chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, there is no need for all the Vedic rituals, what are mentioned there, okay? Now, but you can't take a text of this and then skip from all this and neither do this nor do that. You should be doing in chanting the prayers. Definitely you will be, it's as good as actually performing all the rituals. The enemy of the Krishna Kamsa, thereby I can free myself from all sinful bondage. So enemy of Kamsa is actually Krishna. Sinful bondage, I think this is sufficient for me. So all Karma Kanda is not required. Karma Kanda are people who are neophytes, for the unintelligent people. Now, the way that again for neophytes he has given some. This is for the Brahmana, like a Madhavendra, elevated Brahmana, like a very elite Brahmana. Madhavendra was a very elite Brahmana. The Vedic rites and rituals are imperative for neophytes who are unintelligent or they're very beginners. No, all kinds of prayers 3 times a day they should do. Take a bath in the morning, offer respects to forefathers, fathers, everything. One in Krishna consciousness is engaged in his transcendental loving service, becoming indifferent to all these relative principles. He doesn't have to do all this. He can go beyond Karma Kanda because he has already attained perfection. Okay, he has no longer to execute different types of penances, sacrifices, as recommended in the revealed scriptures. So that needs to, you have to spend such a lot of money. You have to spend your energy, all that. Nothing required. You just sit in a place, devotedly chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you get all the benefit. But if one has not understood that the purpose of the Vedas is to reach Krishna. So even the Vedas, the purpose of the Vedas, all what they're prescribing here, ultimate goal is to reach Krishna. If you can reach the same thing, so if you can take a lift, elevator and go to the 20th floor, why do you want to take steps? You can as well go with the lift. So that is how easy it is. But provided you have a very devoted, fixed, resolute mind, okay? Engage in rituals that can be waste of time, can be deadly, saved actually. Persons in Krishna consciousness transcend the limit of Shabda Brahma, that is the Vedas, and they actually, they transcend, they go beyond that. Now here, when your mind is no longer disturbed by flowery language of the Vedas, okay, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. Here we see that this is actually our Prabhupada's Guru, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati, Siddhanta Saraswati, and our Acharya Guru Maharaj, actually, our Acharya, founder Acharya. He was an elevated soul like that. So here what we say is, he's a person in Samadhi, a person in fixed devotional trance. Is in Krishna consciousness, having fully realized Brahman. So who is in Samadhi? A person who has realized that the 3 forms of Lord, the Brahman realization, Paramatma realization, and the Bhagavan realization. The highest perfection of self-realization is to understand that one is eternally, this keeps on repeating, eternal servant of the Lord, being Krishna conscious, don't own proprietorship, don't lord over things, will be there towards until the end of the chapter. It's going to be, that's what was told. You can even skip some parts because it's the same message, but there are some things which are very interesting. Should not be disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, where they give us fruitive results, where they promise us fruitive results. So don't go by that actually. For promotion to heavenly kingdom, you shouldn't go by that. You don't be disturbed. If you are not able to do some sacrifice, some penance, which has been laid down in the Vedas for certain purpose, don't worry, that's going to happen. Understands all directions from Krishna in his transcendental state. He understands what Krishna tells him. He's not bothered about what the scriptures lay down. Sure to attain conclusive knowledge. He's definitely is going to get the ultimate knowledge. Always carries out the orders of Krishna or his representative, the spiritual master. This is again, we have done this actually. Now, what 51, all these different shlokas say. So in 72, we go back to completely to Godhead. Okay? Now, from now here, 54 to 72 verses, yeah, about Sita Prajna, beautiful. This is a very nice section. Become fixed in Krishna consciousness. It's just very nice. Now, what are the features? Now, Krishna has been telling him, have an equanimous mind, have a very cool, steady mind, be in samadhi, all that. Then what are the features of a person who is in complete samadhi or is having equanimity of mind? That's Arjuna's question. He's called Sita Dhir Muni, who is in actually a stable, steady state of mind. The very wonderful shloka. Arjuna Vacha, Sita Pratnyasya ka bhasha, Samadhi stasya keshava, Sitadi kim prabhaseta, kim asita brajeta kim. We ask him, how does a person who actually, we ask him when a person gets ranked, they announce in the TVs and the papers, oh, such a boy or a girl got the first rank and all that. Interviews are conducted in the TV, and they all want to know, how did you study? How many hours did you study? And which books did you read? How do you make the notes? All those things, or did you play? Or all those things are asked in the interview, because they have acquired that stage. They've got a rank. They've actually won something. They've won laurel. So they're actually sought after. Their answers are very precious. The same way here, Arjuna asks him, "Oh Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence?" This is very difficult. To merge in transcendence is not a joke. So once a person merges his consciousness in transcendence, what are his features? How does he sit? How does he walk? Curiosity wants to know. How does he speak? All these are very important. See, even in our lives, we see some people in the speech only. Our speech is a reflection of our personality. The way we speak. Do we speak softly or harshly or loudly or low tone? Or even in our speech also actually reveals our confidence. So all those things, speech reveals so much of our personality. Okay, so all those are very important. And then with the tone you speak in, the way you speak to a servant is different, to a master is different, to a child is different, to your grandfather is different, so different. The speech, one thing is so very important. And how does he sit? The way you sit also matters, I believe. Psychologists say the way you cross legs or your hands cross one over the other, that shows the mental state, your mental state. And then how does he walk? Now we see in lifetime too, some people, different ways of walking. Some have a very graceful walk, and some have actually, roughly they walk about. Even that reflects your personality. It will be very, very sober in your walk too. So he wants to know, how does he do all that? Okay, very interesting. So this, he wants just information he wants there. Here, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Prajahati yata kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmane atmana tushtaha sita prajnastadochate. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, he doesn't want any sense gratification. When he gives up all that, okay, he has shunned all that, which arise from mental concoction. We all think and we desire so many things, And when his mind is purified, no desires, absolutely like the ocean, very, very absolutely steady, okay? He is purified, finds satisfaction in self alone. See, most people who are elevated, they want to be alone. They want to be isolated. They don't want too many friends, too many relatives coming home, too much of talk. They don't shun. They don't say, "Do you don't come." But they don't invite unnecessarily and then have prajalpa, that is unnecessary talk will not be there. They'll just talk to the point and then they stop. But people don't stop. So they don't encourage much of that. So they want to be alone. They want to spend more time in reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, other scriptures, and do their self-study, with their chanting and their home course. There's a lot of home course. You have to attend to all that too. So he's conscious about that. The highly developed soul always remains satisfied in himself by realizing himself as the eternal servitor of the Supreme Lord. Such a transcendently situated person has no desires resulting from petty materialism. No desires at all. You give him, he's not overwhelmed. You don't give him, he's not upset. That is a Sita Prajna. He remains always happy. Happiness is actually, he may be wearing torn clothes. He may not be having food for several days. He's still very happy. Okay, and maybe having a lot of distress. When we are in a home also, we can be Sita Prajna. There'll be so many things, mishaps happening in the house. You can't get disturbed by that if you're a Krishna conscious person, a Sita Prajna. You have to be very equanimous in your mind. In this he's actually serving the Lord. It's been shown here. So the blessed Lord says, "O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of sense desires, he's actually supposed to be steady in mind, like this person here. Okay. Now we have again symptoms are just for your information. Symptoms of a Sitadhir Muni is in 55, speech about this, and then how to sit here and then how he walks. The different shlokas. Okay. Now, Dukheshu Anudignamanaha, Sukheshu, Vigataspраha, Vitaraga, Bhaya, Krodha, Sitadhir Munir Uchate, one who is not disturbed in mind when amidst the threefold miseries, or when there's no attachment, not over happy, not sad, no fear, no anger, is actually steady in mind. This is a person actually he is actually a sage-like mind. He has, keeps a very cool always. The Sitadhir, this is a very important question in your quizzes. It may come. So please note these things, what I've tried to make for you. The Sitadhir, all of course, and my special request I didn't tell you yesterday, please do make it a point to read the purports. They're beautiful purports, okay? And all my extracts are further purports to make it convenient for you to highlight what is very important. But do please read. Now in Bhagavad Gita, as it is, we are not supposed to deviate even one small, hair breadth this way and that way. We have to stick on to what has been told by our founder Acharya and by Krishna ultimately. So all this is there in the purports. Please read purports. Read, reread. Keep on reading. Revise. And then you get the essence of the entire knowledge. The Sitadhir Muni is always in Krishna consciousness. He's called Prashanta Nishesha Mano Rathantara. Or one who has surpassed the stage of mental speculations. He doesn't speculate at all. Absolutely cool. No, unnecessary doesn't think. Unnecessary lamenting. The Shudra does it. He doesn't do it. Okay. And has come to the conclusion that Lord Sri Krishna or Vasudeva, actually Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabhaha. Everything is Vasudeva. He's not at all disturbed by the onslaughts of threefold miseries. I just told you, whatever may happen, he says it's God's will, it's happening. Okay, this also will pass. This day also will pass. Good days will come. Similarly, when he's happy, when he's such a great person, Arjuna is, I think he has all the qualities. If something good happens, he says, God did it. It's the Almighty's grace. If something bad happens, he says, oh, I deserve this. So God has given me this. There's a lesson that God has kept me in this particular punishment that I have gone. Let me learn that lesson and let me try to elevate myself. He never complains for whatever distress that he has got. That is actually detachment. Okay. And then and in every situation, every circumstance, his endeavor is to always elevate himself, to go higher and higher. He doesn't ever complain or crib for whatever he doesn't have. Consequently, he's not at all angry, no anger at all. Even when his attempts actually are unsuccessful, success and success doesn't matter at all. He just offers he does his duty and he leaves the fruits to Almighty. Okay, his steady and determination. Beautiful again. This is a very nice chapter. If you inculcate these values in life, we are elevated. Okay? Here, Sarvatrana Vishnehas Tat Prapya Shubhashubham Nabhi Nandanti Nadveshti Tasya Prajna Pratishtita. In the material world, one who is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising nor despising it, is firmly fixed in Krishna in perfect knowledge. So he's not affected by the good. I think more or less most of the shlokas give us the same message, but shlokas are different. Yaha Sarvatrana Vishnehas Tat Prapya, the same thing. I will not repeat this. So in the material world, actually, one who is unaffected by whatever good or evil, it's actually he was everything to Almighty. So this is actually, we see here now, these are our Goswamis. This is a very nice picture. Now symptoms here, 55. How does he reveal his position? Sita Prajna. How does he? Sitadhir Muni, how does he actually reveal his position? How does he speak? Our Acharya, founder Acharya, how does he speak? Then what is his mind? How does he sit? It's shown here. And then how does he engage his senses? Even while walking, he used to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra always. That is his actually commitment to Krishna. Okay. Now here we have the Parampara examples. These are all the 6 Goswamis. Okay. And we are here, our Acharya, founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada is there. And this is his guru, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. And Gaur Kishore, I'll have Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And then we have I think this is Vila. I've got some references here. Now this is actually all the Goswamis: Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami, Navy of Rupa and Sanatana, Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, Gopala Bhatta Goswami, and then Raghunatha Dasa Goswami. The 6 Goswamis. Then from left to right, we have first our founder Acharya Bhakti Swami Prabhupada, then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura Prabhupada, then Gauri Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, and Bhakti Vinod Thakura. This is actually, you can make out from, this is Bhakti Vinod Thakura. Lots of lyrics, Vaishnava songs. So this is the Parampara discipline. They were all elevated souls, absolutely elevated souls. Okay. Now here example is given of the tortoise. Yada samharate chayam kurmo anganiva sarvashah indriyanindriya tebhyas tasya prajna pratishtita. One should be like a tortoise. A tortoise, when it is not using its limbs, it withdraws all the 4 limbs under the its shell. Okay, it's withdrawn. With its danger also, it withdraws inside. Only when it wants something, it just puts it out. When walking or it wants food, when there's no danger, it comes out. So the same way, we also, whenever we want to do service to Krishna, we have to open out, or we have to be in our shells. That means you have to be to ourselves. See, we have time in the world for everyone. We give appointment to so many people. You may come at this time, I will talk to you, discuss with every person. But we have no time for ourselves. We don't sit for a moment ourselves in a solitary corner and talk to ourselves. What are we doing? Are we on the right track? And just go on, just speculate, just think about where we went wrong. We don't bother about that. We just go on doing things, whether right or wrong. For the world, we are available. For ourselves, we are unavailable. So one who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as a tortoise, he is actually in perfect consciousness. Okay. Now, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam raso apyasya param drishtva nivartate. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the soul has no, of course, it has no sense enjoyment. The taste for sense objects remains. See that lingering, it's internal, it remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing higher taste is fixed in Krishna consciousness. But what can you do? See, if you are given an alternative, a better option, okay, then definitely we'll choose a better option. You can go away from the unwanted things. So you have to offer your mind the better options to think about, to enjoy. You enjoy chanting, obviously your interest in all the sensual enjoyments are gone. So you have to give such very good options. Don't give it junk. If you give junk, actually, in food also, if you're given a very wholesome food and your choice is given to a junk, definitely you would choose junk. You should not give option. Junk should not be an option. Your option should be something more nutritious, like the fruits, the dry fruits, or you would choose that. So always look out for the better options in life and elevate yourself. It's very important. This is what it said here. So sense restriction of some spiritual processes like Ashtanga Yoga, in the matter of yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, we'll be doing it in Ashtanga Yoga, is recommended for less intelligent people. All need not take to this. Now, one who is fixed in Krishna consciousness, one has got a taste for Krishna, will never actually bother about all this. But one who has tasted the beauty of the Supreme Lord in the course of his advancement in Krishna consciousness, no longer has taste for any dead material things. Will never bother about that. Okay? Now here we see the same thing. The illustration is shown here now. Say embodied souls restricted from sense enjoyment. Embodied souls, a taste for sense objects, all sensual. They only want which attracts their senses. But actually here, a Krishna conscious person is fixed in Krishna consciousness, develops higher taste, and automatically loses taste for all these material enjoyments. Yatato yapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha indriyani pramatatini haranti prashabham manaha. The senses are so strong and impetus for Arjuna that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. In Vishwamitra, what happened? Just with the lust, when Menaka comes there, he just loses control. One should not do that. But Haridasa Thakura was not like that. He was actually fixed in his, he did not yield to the, attractions which are actually laid forth by no one. So you must have control over the senses. So she says Vishwamitra was a very elevated soul, but even such a soul can fall down when actually the senses are perturbed, disturbed. So this is actually, so what should you do? These are the 5 senses, okay? All our 5 senses. The sense of vision, then the hearing and taste and all that, skin, touch and all that. Now these are the string. This is the mind actually. Now they should be controlled by, this is the soul, this intelligence, buddhi. That you should have the reins of the senses should be in your hand through the mind, okay? You should not let it loose. They would want to go berserk in their own way, but you should always control them through your determined mind. So that's very important in being actually fixed in Krishna consciousness. Situated in Krishna consciousness, material enjoyment automatically becomes tasteful. If you start, see, I'm just telling my practical experience. I've not put on the TV for the past, I think, at least 8 to 9 months. We don't at all. There's no time. No interest. But what you say, the same serials, they are called soaps. You keep on repeating every day, and you just get addicted to it, and you go and sit in front of the TV. But absolute waste of time. I feel it now. Now I think I wasted my time for so many years. For whatever, of course, what has happened. You can't go back. But then in spirituality, from the moment you realize what you're doing is wrong and go and start treading on the right path, even that is a right time. There's nothing like a right time. When you decide, and you even Shil Maharaj was there actually. He just before his dying, he realizes and he gets elevated. So even that's possible. But then better late than never. It should never be, should be never. So situated, you have many of you have automatically taste is elevated. Ambarisha Maharaja was so great. So Durvasa Muni was a Krishna conscious person. You all know the story how Durvasa Muni tried to test him, and then he wanted to prove him wrong, and he comes on Dwadashi day, and then he says, I'll come back, I want to eat with you. And he used to do Nirjal Upvas, Ambarish Maharaj. Then he goes to bathe goes to bathe to the river, and then Ambarish Maharaj actually waits for a long time on Dwadashi day. Then someone tells him, you have not taken, it's Nirjal, no? Take a little water, doesn't matter. No, not taking any grain. Let the Muni come, then you can have your lunch. Then after serving him, but the Durvasa Muni was a very always short-tempered person. He actually comes to know that's the reason why he has come there. He's come to test him. So he gets very angry, comes furiously back, fuming. He comes back from the river and says, "How did you drink water? You should have served me and then taken your water sip also, sip of water." Ambarisha Maharaj says, "No, I just drank water, nothing more." So angry, he curses him. Then Ambarisha Maharaj is very cool. Ambarisha Maharaj actually then starts praying to Lord Krishna. And Krishna actually sees this happening. He's not at all comfortable. It's a devotee, happening to a devotee. So actually he sends his Sudarshan Chakra to actually chase Durvasa Muni. And then Durvasa Muni has to run for life. He starts running and no one can help him. Actually, Brahma can't help him, Shiva can't help him. Then ultimately goes to Vishnu. Vishnu also can't help him. Krishna says, you go to the person you offended. I'm telling you that it's a long story cut short in short time. Okay. Now he says, you go to the person whom offended. He ultimately comes to Ambarisha Maharaj. Then he prostrates and then he's sorry, I shouldn't have done this with you. Many learned sages, philosophers, they actually go berserk and they lose their senses and they fall. That's the main kind of Vishwamitra story is there. So here the senses are, this is the story of the senses very strong, impetus very forceful, okay? For the Siddhadir Muni, forcibly carry away man carrying to control them. So, but equipoised mind engaged in Krishna consciousness, what happens to sense gratification becomes actually nil and distasteful of all the material things. They're of course very long stories. You can enjoy reading them at leisure, but time constraint again, we can't go into a big chapter in the time constraint. We have to stick on to some things. Now, King Ambarish, look at the greatness of Ambarish Maharaja, how he fixed his mind, every part of his body for the service of Krishna. Ambarisha Maharaj fixed his mind on the lotus feet. His mind was at the lotus feet of the Lord. We should do, all of us should follow this in our lives, His words describe the word of the Lord. Whatever he spoke was to describe Goloka Vrindavana or the Vaikuntha planets. His hands to clean the temple of the Lord. Ears only hearing the pastimes of the Lord. His eyes only to see the form of the Lord. We use all these things for all material enjoyment. And then his body to touch the body of the devotee. Normally when a devotee comes, you welcome him, you greet him. For that, the body should be touched. And also the body to clean, the hands to clean the deities, to do abhisheka. His body and his nostrils to smell the flavor of the flowers offered to the lotus feet of the Lord. Tulsi fragrance, and the flower fragrance has to be actually enjoyed. His tongue for only tasting the tulsi leaves offered to him. Legs in traveling to holy places, pilgrimage places. And head offering obeisances to the Lord, bending down. His desire in fulfilling all desires of the Lord he was fulfilling. And all these qualifications made him fit to become a Matpara. Now, what is a Matpara? Matpara is a person who establishes his relationship with the Lord. That was our great Ambarisha Maharaja. And this is again here. Beautiful again. Surdas story. Now, Tani Sarvani Samyamya Yukta Asita Matparaha Vashehi Yasyendriyani Tasya Pradnya Pratishtita. Now, who is this? Can you tell me? I think I said it. Yeah, at least this I would ask not force you to answer any question. Can you answer who this is actually? Are you all there? Are you all there?
Yes, Mataji.
You are there.
Yes,
You are
Mataji.
there. I know you are there. But others, I have my doubts now. Who is this person? I think if this is the case, and every day I'll make you chant the shlokas. After tomorrow, from next week onwards, please come prepared for the third chapter. I'll make you raise the hands, and anyone can be given any shloka. You have to chant the shloka. I'm not going to chant the shlokas here afterwards because it helps me to save my energy for explanation. So, because you're not answering me, who is this person? Can you tell me?
Surdas.
Yeah, so simple. You could have told me earlier, is it not? The beautiful story of Surdas. I have to cut it short again. Again, lack of time. Wonderful. He was born blind. He had 3 brothers, and he was born in a village called Sihi, near Delhi. And then no one liked him. His own mother didn't like him. She had given birth to a blind child. How could she disown him? Tell me. She also disowned him. Father disowned him. All nice clothes for other children, not for him. All education for other children, not for him. Food, nice food for other children, not for him. He felt so bad. He used to feel, what's wrong with me? One day he was sitting in front of his house, and 2 troops of singers. They create a great change in his life. One troop comes and goes away, and then he actually he feels I should also learn singing, but they don't take him. The next group comes, just follows them. He doesn't even ask whether it should come or not. Then they take him. They're all beggars basically, singing, but singing very beautifully. Okay. Then they go to a tree. They're all sitting there, and then they offer. They know he's blind. They offer him food, and they say, "Why did you follow us?" He says, "I followed because I want to learn singing from you all." Then they say, they know, it's a burden. You can't take a blind person along with them. They're begging. Then what they do, quietly, they leave the place in the night. Then he's alone there, but he keeps on singing Krishna's songs. And then he knows that he's close to Mathura, near Vrindavana. And from the people who are talking, they keep the passers-by from their conversation. He knows he's near Mathura. Then he wants to go to Mathura. And while going on the way, he falls. There's a well there. Before that, God gives, when God snatches one faculty of ours, he gives many more faculties. And he was a very devout person, a devoted person. So he has the 6th sense, He used to keep on telling him, he was not a Jyotishi, not an astrologer. He used to tell people when they lost some animal or lost a child, would say, it is there, you go there, find it, you'll get them. Become a great man, very popular. But he didn't want to stay there. He wanted to go to Krishna, to actually Vrindavan. So then he was going on the way, then he falls in a well. Now, then when he falls in a well there, for 7 days he's there in the well actually. Then he keeps on thinking of Krishna. And the 7th day, small child, you can see this small Krishna here, this one, he actually lifts him up. He just come, I'll lift you. He knows it is Krishna. Then he takes him across, and then later, it's a very long story. He comes across at Acharya called Vallabhacharya, who actually he used to compose to. Surdas will compose to, and he sing his own songs. And he was in the Akbar regime. He was there. So Akbar invites him to sing the songs there. And people, of course, they say, you don't go anywhere. You stay here. They make a small hut for him near the lake. And then, but he says, I want to be alone here and sing only Krishna songs. Even on the invitation of Akbar, he doesn't go to the Akbar's palace to sing. He says, I'll sing here, you come and listen here. All go there. And this is actually the story of a devout Krishna, a Krishna conscious person or a Krishna devotee. So Krishna helps in his own ways to help alleviate the problems of his devotees. So our Lord Krishna used to come there and play with him. He would listen to Surdas's songs and then start running about. And he would start running. Surdas couldn't run because he was blind, You said, no, you run, doesn't matter. I've already captured you in my heart. So that's a devotion of a devotee, true devotee. Dhyato, you please read all these stories, they're very interesting stories. Dhyato Vishayan Pumsa Sangasteshu Pajayate Sanjayate Kamaha Kamat Krodho Vijayate. Now we come to all our feelings, what happens, we get lust. Objects of sense objects are there around us. A beautiful car or a beautiful garment, you want it, okay? If you get it, you're happy. You don't get it, you're very sad, okay? That's how emotions start developing. Any object of sense, it creates an emotion in you, which ultimately makes you fall down the ravine, okay? Person develops attachment for them. Oh, that car I must have, that dress I must have, that thing I must have, that jewel I must have. And from such attachment, lust develops, okay? Lust is much worse, you want to possess it. It could be anything, okay? Even between a man and a woman, it's also very dangerous. That is very, very dangerous, okay? And from lust, anger comes. When the person, you don't get the thing what you want, you get angry. You're not able to buy it or not able to get the object, you get very angry. Now, out of anger, what happens? You get bewildered. There's a beautiful flow chart here, which shows, your objects of senses, attachment develops. If attachment, lust develops, you want to possess it. And anger, if you don't get it, okay? And if you get it, you are very happy. But is that at least happiness permanent? No. Your new car, you may enjoy it for 1 year. Beyond that, many people have such cars. You feel it is routine, don't enjoy. So there's no happiness in material objects enjoyment, okay? Anger. And anger leads to delusion, become actually mad. And bewilderment of memory. When you're very angry, that's why I said yesterday, plan and get angry. If you don't plan and do such things, your memory gets affected. When your memory gets affected, you are called a mad person, okay? So loss of memory, you actually fall down the ravine. So all these are the same shlokas refer to that only. So raga dvesha vimuktaistu vishayan indriyascharam atma vashyet vidhi atma prasadam adhigacchati. But a person free from all attachment. You have a car, okay, they have got a car, beautiful car, let them have it. Don't have it. Why want to buy it? Why can't you see their car and enjoy it? You don't have to buy it to enjoy it, is it not? So if you have no attachment, much attachment, you can develop such feelings. And aversion. So, but a person free from all attachment, he doesn't have attachment and no aversion. Suppose you give someone something, he doesn't say, I don't want it. No aversion either, okay? No hatred. And able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. Such a person is liked by the Lord. In at home, see, you have several children. One of the child, most children, they want to say, I want this, I want that. They keep on hankering, they pester you too. But one child of them, you give it, but that is very difficult. But some children, such children are also there. You give it, it's not overjoyed. You don't give it, it's not upset. So you feel special attraction towards a particular child and you give everything what it wants. That's the mercy of the Lord and our mercy towards the child. One may externally control the senses by some artificial process that is of no use. You can't use artificial means at all. But unless senses are engaged in transcendental service of the Lord, there is no chance. There is definitely every chance of fall. There's no chance of liberation from the getting rid from the fall. So you have to give your mind other options to choose, and then you have to, yeah. So this is what it says. So you have to have an option, freedom to get what you choose. You have to choose what, if you have a better choice, you are on the right track. But in the wrong choice, will be, again, you'll get fallen. So, prasade sarva dukkhanam hanir asyopajayate prasannate cha so yashu buddhi paryavastite paryavastite. For one, thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence, they're not there. He's very satisfied. His intelligence is actually soon well established. He's not at all upset. Nasti buddhir ayuktasya na chayuktasya bhavana na chabhava yata shantir ashantasya kuta sukham. One who is not connected with the Lord Krishna can neither have transcendental intelligence, definitely not, nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. Where can there be peace? If there is no stability of mind, you can't have peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? Okay, there's only one thing. You be peaceful, all other wishes follow it. And for being in peace, you should be in the transcendental, eternal service of the Lord. Therefore, one who is engaged without a relationship with the Lord Krishna is always in distress. He is the person who is upset. If at all in our lives from tomorrow, or even the next moment, we think we are not happy, it means you are not really connected to Krishna. You should be always happy. You're well or not well, happy or unhappy. Things go your way, they don't go your way. You get the things what you want, you don't get the things what you want. You are always going to be happy. That is being in Krishna consciousness. Okay, yeah, it's in here we see, almost last part. We have come to the last part now. Yeah. Now, this is actually, but there's no use in being for one who is satisfied in Krishna consciousness. The threefold miseries will always not exist. Here we see, one who is not connected with the Supreme Krishna can neither have transcendental intelligence. They won't have it. A steady mind will not be there at all. And then, without which there is no possibility of peace. So how can there be any happiness with there is no peace? Indriyanam hi charatam yanmano anuvidhiyate tadasya harati prajnam vayurnavam ivambasi. As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one roaming sense. So it doesn't matter, see, if one of the five senses, if one of them is going, one of the horses is going in one direction, all will be pulled towards that way. Okay, that is force is so much. So same way, even a single sense of ours should not be way-led. Okay, so in the same way, when the strong wind blows, it will just blow away the boat. You have to see that every sense is properly controlled. Unless all the senses are engaged in the service of the Lord, even one of them engaged in sense gratification and deviate the devotee from the path of devotional service, transcendental advancement. Okay, as mentioned in the life of Maharashi Ambarisha, all of the senses must be engaged in Krishna consciousness. But that is the correct technique for controlling the mind. Beautiful. You follow him, you have no misery at all in this life. And our life is done. We're actually going to be liberated. Tasmad yasya mahabaho nigritani sarvashah indriyani indriyatebhyas tasya prajna pratishtitaha. Therefore, Almighty armed, one whose senses are restrained from their objects, is certainly, he is having steady intelligence. Now here, this is the boat which is actually getting blown away by the wind. And here we see the people actually, they are the restrained senses, due to lack of intelligence, they are suffering. Now, this flow chart, the same message conveyed here by the living entity. One of the roaming senses, even if one is there, carries man away from intelligence, or on which mind focuses on that. And senses are restrained from sense objects. If you do that, that is the green colored one, you've got steady intelligence. If you practice under the bona fide spiritual master, you become a sadhaka. That is what you have to become ultimately. And in the service of the Lord, all the senses are definitely controlled. Okay. we are here. This is okay, beautiful shloka. Yanisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati samyami tasyam jagrati bhutani sanisha pashyato munehe. That we see in our lives too. See, those who are in Krishna consciousness, we have to get up early in the morning at 4:30, attend the Mangalarati. By then, all the other neighbors are sleeping. See, when all are sleeping, we are awake. We are chanting. And even at the night, when obviously when we have classes like this, we would not have been able to complete our chanting. So after the class is over by 11 or 12, after the course, we start chanting. Obviously, it becomes 1:30. Okay. That's the time again all are sleeping, and you are chanting, you are doing devotional service. So it is actually now when a person who is not knowledgeable is sleeping, the highly advanced spiritual person is awake, and when he's when the material, the people with the material desires and all that working very hard in the daytime, the transcendental person, the spiritual person is actually taking rest. So normally we have to take rest when you are we are getting odd times in the day, and that's the best time because it is called Brahmi Murta, and there's no noise, much of noise. Vibrations, radiations are also very not many, and very pure atmosphere is there at that time, very cool, calm. So we prefer that time. So it's a very beautiful shloka. What is night for all the beings is a time for awakening for the self-controlled soul. In all the students, they're enjoying going to pictures and malls and going to shopping and all that. The studious person, the student, wants to get a rank, is busy studying. Okay, and when the exam comes, all the students, they'll be rushing through the notes and the portions, the textbooks and whatnot. They try to sleep awake with tea and coffee and whatnot. They can't sleep. They can't sit. They can't sleep. They get up. They do all sorts of circuses. But at that time, the intelligent person was all studied everything. He's ready for the exam. He's not even bothered if the exam is preponed by a few weeks. I'm ready, he says. So that's how it is, when he's an intelligent boy. He doesn't work towards the end and become unintelligent and be a loser. Yeah. Apurya manam achala pratishtham samudram apa pravishan. Very beautiful meaning shloka this is. Samudram apa pravishanti yatvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sa shantim apnoti na kama kami. See, just as look at the ocean. Normally ocean is very silent. Okay, now people who are very quiet are compared to the ocean. Of course, ocean, there are tides, I don't deny. When there is a no moon day or a new moon in the full moon day, we do see tides, but very rarely, not always. But the ocean never swells. Its brinks don't, the brims don't become elevated or they shrink down. Okay. Though all the rivers flow toward the ocean, actually the water of the ocean is increasing. They don't really, it doesn't increase. But then the rivers here, the flow of the water of the river is compared to the desires. So in a Sanyami, that is actually a transcendental person, okay? The desires, they don't create any turmoil in his mind. The desires, first of all, don't affect him at all. He has no desires at all. They affect the material person, okay, the material platform. So we should be like the ocean, always with a steady, balanced surface. Okay, a person who is not disturbed by the instant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean. Do you think? Let's say, imagine a girl or a boy, adolescent boy. Many of those are in our Krishna conscious congregation, and many children are there actually. Of course, children are children, but in adolescents, many of them are almost they're like yogis now. Don't they have desires? Don't they have an age? They also want to enjoy. Their desires do come, but they don't disturb them because they're in Krishna consciousness. That enters the river, ocean, which is never being filled, but is always still. It's always, see, those people, the yogis are always complete. They're satisfied. A satisfied person does not need to have extra satisfaction from any other source, can alone achieve peace, and not man who strives to satisfy the desires. So if you are satisfied always, you're happy, you're peaceful, and you're definitely a very healthy person. That's very important. Vihaya kaman yah sarvan umam sa charati nispraha nirmamo nirahankaraha sashantim adhigacchati a person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires, who has given up all sense proprietorship. He doesn't think I am the Lord of all what is happening now. That doesn't actually, is not, the feeling is not there in him. Okay. He doesn't lord over things. He is devoid of false ego. He has no false ego at all. That is Mahamaya. Due to Mahamaya, we think we are lording over the whole world. We are the proprietors of the entire universe, which is absolutely false. Okay, null and void. Yeah, he alone can be real in real peace. So this is a person who has given up all desires for sense gratification is actually very absolutely rid of false ego. Is a person in peace. But this is actually the ocean. The rivers are flowing to the ocean, but the ocean level is never disturbed. It's always the same. We come to the last shloka. Esha Brahmi Siti Partha Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati Siti Vasyam Antakalepi Brahma Nirvanam Rachati. That is the way of spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. If one is situated, even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of the Lord. Okay, there was actually Khatwanga Maharaj, a beautiful example given here. And this is our Bhaktivinoda Thakura. Yeah, he's the one actually who I told you. He is the one who has written a lot of Vaishnava bhajans, and he divided the entire Bhagavad Gita into the three Kandi, Karma Yoga, Karma Kanda, then the Bhakti Kanda and the Jnana Kanda. So this is very nice. Yeah, one can attain Krishna consciousness or divine life at once, within a second. Like, the butter becomes ghee. It's only one moment, just a moment. And after the moment, if it will get burnt, shouldn't keep it later. Or one may not attain such a state of life of millions of births. Sometimes, I find it. There are certain milk packets given by Nandini. We never get any butter in that. I keep on churning for days together, keep it in fridge, do all the odd sorts of things. No butter at all. It never, years, days, months together, I try doing it too. That means, the fat level is very less in it. So, but then some of the the milk with a lot of rich in fat, you get the butter instantly. And once the butter is formed, it never goes back into the buttermilk. And the ghee never becomes the butter again. So, so just a moment it happens. Okay, Khatwanga Maharaj attained this state of life just a few minutes before his death by surrendering to Krishna. It's a optimistic note for all of us. So just before, a moment before also your end comes, if you realize that God is supreme, we are his eternal servitors, we are done. We are actually liberated. Nirvana means, liberated means what? You think, are we going to Vaikuntha planets? Those I do not know, because we were actually, we don't know past life records, we do not know. Depends upon that, okay? But then definitely we are elevated to the high lokas, where we can have our life and then come back to, of course, take birth in a very elite family, very educated, enlightened, rich family, aristocratic family, which not just, I said again, not materially rich, spiritually rich, and rich by heritage and culture, which can further our enlightenment in that house. Nirvana means ending the process of materialistic. What is nirvana? If you end your materialistic life, it is nirvana. According to Buddhist philosophy, there is only void after completion of the. There is nothing. They don't believe in soul and all that. There's absolutely nothing. Gap after life. Bhagavad Gita teaches differently. Actual life begins after completion of this material life. The spiritual life there. We have. I told you one of the sessions. The body, this is dead body. Let's say. Then the subtle body just rises from the dead body. Then there's mind, intelligence, and the ego. It actually searches out for another body to take its enter actually. So we believe in that. So actual life begins after that. That is the spiritual life. For a gross materialist, it is sufficient to know that one has to end this materialistic way of life. That's the message of this chapter is end your materialistic way of life. Become spiritual. Get started. Parantapa. You have to get up and start. Okay. Persons who are spiritually advanced, there is another life after this materialistic life. Before ending this life, if one fortunately becomes Krishna conscious, he at once attains the stage of the Brahma Nirvana. Nothing more than that. We get Brahma Nirvana, yeah, that's the highest. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has summarized, I've told you about this, all the yogas he has done it, and we pay obeisances to him. Then we end our chapter today. Now that's what we discussed today. 1 to 10 shlokas. Sorry. Arjuna's further doubts and his surrender. Then 11 to 30, Jnana. Death, we are not the body, we are the soul. Then Karma Kanda is fight. Arjuna, get up and fight. Then 39 to 53, Buddhi Yoga. That is actually Nishkama Karma. Fight, but don't expect the results. 54 to 72, Sita Prajna. What are the features of the Sita Prajna? Sorry for my throat. I hope I was thank Almighty, this didn't bother me in the course of the lecture, but I hope I am understood. And with my small ending prayer, I end the session. Then the session is open for discussion. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrand ki jai, Bhakta Vrand ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, all of you. Now the session is open for discussion.